So how upset would you be if a betrayal on the part of a character I'm controlling led to the death of your character?
And who are you asking?
Each
All
of
of
you
us,
in
I
turn.
think. I'd be torn. I've had fun with Byron, but if I were to make a new character, that might be fun too. If it's done in a way that's awesome, I'm fine with it, I guess.
I won't lie to you and say that I would not feel bad about Marcus dying. As I've meant, as I think all of us have, we've all come to sort of care about our characters perhaps a little bit too much.
Yeah, I finally got Valentine's number, darn it. But that'd be my one true regret, is I finally got a foothold and then he's dead.
He finally got someone's number and now he's dead. That was his great accomplishment. He got a hold of someone's number.
There you go.
But more to the point is, I would not hold it against you as a person for doing it. I know you're in character. He would probably do this. I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah, and he'll probably try and do this if he goes into NPCdom as well. That's the thing.
Well, I would consider this to be a gross breach of contract. I don't know about you.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't get paid this month.
But seventh generation, yeah. Who needs a contract if you're a seventh generation vampire? For reals, right?
You'd make Match look bad, man.
That I would.
Obviously not knowing the details, but anytime you betray kindred, there's always a bit of risk.
That's the problem, too. Jermaine doesn't have to pursue this option, particularly if he thinks the situation where he might not actually make, this might not be the best odds for survival option for Jermaine.
Yeah, I don't know about the other two, but Jermaine knows Joseph will hunt him down if he fucks over the coterie badly.
Joseph is fucking crazy, Jermaine.
That's true. He might have to kill the entire coterie.
And Byron shoots people's heads off by mistake.
It's true.
And only by mistake.
Right, so if he pisses off Byron, then he knows he's good, because Byron's going to just shoot off.
Basically what I'm going to have him do, Byron botches, he shoots the plastic explosives, all of you die. Story end.
No pressure.
Qadir falls into McCarthyism. Savannah everywhere! But no, I definitely loved how I pitched that slow ball and everyone was silent about that. That was the intended effect for that. Like I ended up saying, I did not expect what happened with Qadir al-Asmai to happen during last session, but once it did happen, I definitely spent a few days thinking about where I was going to go from there and what might transpire, and I came to the conclusion that happened. Now, certainly, I can't interpret what all of you will end up doing in any given session, as you all have a tendency to surprise me in one manner or another, but understanding the setting and the characters certainly goes a long way. Also, for the first time, Byron actually had to roll against garlic.
Probably the last time.
Okay, here's a question. How big of a bribe in character would it take each of you to embrace someone for me? No other questions asked.
Why, yeah, Byron would want
question
to know
that-
why you wanted to do that.
A free month of service, perhaps, with no charge, including the no VT charge?
Marcus
what
would
would it cost?
Marcus would say no outright. The cost would be higher than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, with what I'm imagining, Joseph's imagining, that you're imagining, I imagine the cost would be impossible. It just would not happen.
There is a cost, mind you. It's just that you're not likely to get there ever.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah, Byron pretty much would say the same thing.
You see now, and just imagine, Aaron, I was imagining delivering that to you, like, during a session, like having a 5-minute break being taken while I gave you that second task. And then you'd have to think about it the rest of the session.
I'm going to be thinking about this rest of the week. At this rate. What clan is Match?
You're not entirely sure. He's never said.
I'm going to call him up and ask.
You do realize that's not actually something you, I mean, the generation thing is actually a big no-no. I suppose you could call and ask about the clan, but, Match would probably just rebuff you.
That's fair.
It's a pretty curious question to just call someone, even if he's your ally. So, like, what clan are you in? What country are you from?
Is there any time that you're alone, that we, like Dark Alley, where we can meet?
Yeah, how much is a free month, or fuck it, a free year of service from a 7th generation vampire worth to you? Serious question.
Byron wouldn't actually want to do that because that would outrank him generation-wise, and he kind of doesn't like that. So I don't know if you'd be able to win him over on that one, especially since you've kind of not quite breached, but you kind of reinterpreted their contract when it came to Leslie Cutter too. So he's not sure if he can trust you all the way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Joseph's got his own things, especially with Sevalod. So anything to deal with him, you're not going much of anywhere. And because you're dealing with him, everything you're doing is dealing with him. So even if he's wants to be nicer to you, he doesn't want to deal with you. If you understand what I'm saying there.
Yeah, I understand.
You're not gonna circumvent the problem by getting compliance from the other player characters.
Yeah, I was going to
apparently
say, I'm
not.
sorry if we're boxing you into a corner here, but if you got to kill us, you got to kill us.
But he doesn't have to.
No, I don't. It's just the easiest way. Betrayal is the easiest solution here. Not necessarily the best, but by far the easiest.
And like I said, although it actually wasn't intended to be any sort of punishment, I gave you what Civilod wanted. The fact of the matter is that doesn't Jermaine want to prove himself to be a better person than what Civilod thinks of?
Still Humanity 5, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Oh no, you backstab these people who might actually trust you. That's gonna go down.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to roll for the people I grabbed in the meantime.
Oh,
That's
you
4
most
people left.
certainly do. All the 4 others.
Watch, he's gonna botch him. He's gonna drop to Humanity 0. It's not gonna matter.
I botched one of them.
You most certainly did.
What's that, a drop of 2?
No, you lose a point of humanity and you lose a point of conscience.
All right. Well, then
That-
that second one was just the 8.
Yep, second one was just the 8. Which means ultimately, after 12 deliveries of humans, you've only lost 1 point of humanity and 1 point of conscience. But that pretty much means that you have no excuse for increasing conscience for the entire story. It's going to be a 1, providing you actually keep Jermaine as a player character.
Yeah, I think you're a master of compartmentalization at this point.
Do ghouls have to worry about bearing?
I would
What?
certainly say so. If they, as real human life beings, there are people that we don't want to get near because they seem as if they are not right, I would say. And same reason why he can actually, Jermaine can actually go into like frenzying shit himself. It's just much more difficult for him.
Yep.
Because I don't think Jermaine's a character. Obviously, I haven't seen your sheet, but I don't think Jermaine's a character with much charisma to begin with.
2.
So you're starting to look a little wrong.
I'm pretty sure the humanity of 4 actually fits within the normal no modifier. I'm not sure though. I think it's the minimum. I think 4 to 7 is the range.
That's how I remember it, at least for...
And I'm correct.
VtM.
7 to 4, no modifier on the bearing. This means that you do not have a problem causing intentional property damage now. Good job. And I've certainly been a lot more lax on like a sort of like humanity rules for everyone. In part because of the whole self-defense thing, but in part because these are vampires. If you guys were actually doing this shit against human beings, you would actually have to roll your conscience to try to rationalize it the way you guys do.
This is like legit. Most of the stuff we're doing, we're only finding that are people that are legitimately already trying to kill us.
Right. It's like rolling humanity versus the Sabbat. I could have you do that if you all had super high humanity, but you don't.
Well, and they attack us first.
There's that too. It's just like with the, like, say if like a vampire hunter were coming after you, even if you could try to justify it with self-defense, but I could just throw back in your face, he's a human being who's trying to rid his world of evil. And you killed him. Rationalize it.
Okay, you know what? I've made my decision.
Okay, when's the next session starting?
The next session is starting when David wakes up.
Okay. The next session will start
But
after a... Okay.
Jermaine is actually going to come to the coterie, them all together, and explain what he didn't choose to do.
Alright. Do you wish to go through the socialization in the church or O'Malley real estate now? You've certainly been pitching a lot of potential hypothetical and character questions.
Let's do it in O'Malley real estate.
Right now?
Right now.
Okay.
So those, just to clarify, those 4 people he picked up, I think it was 4 left, were over 4 separate days?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it's 4 days later.
Yeah, and you all have been busy looking into whatever, doing whatever, schmoozing with whatever, trying to figure out what your next move is, whatever. And the sheriff has definitely, I'll go ahead and say right now, since we have guaranteed 4 days having passed, the sheriff is actually gaining some momentum, increased ripples of approval, as well as some people are actually starting to like him, in part because of how apparently apparently important he was to the survival and the continued running of the city, and the fact that he has thrown himself rather inexorably into hunting down all traces of the Sabbat within New York. There is a bit of contempt and some confusion as to why he's ended up working so well with the Gangrel, but it almost seems as if he's acting like some sort of healing bridge. The Sabbat are the #1 enemy, and to that end, if the Gangrel are willing to come along for the ride and kill the Sabbat, none of the other neonates are like, well, you're fucking dumb. And possibly to an extent, tensions in Staten Island are starting to ease a bit as well. They aren't bottled up so much anymore, but most certainly so. Sheriff Qadir al-Asmai is it's sort of like a ripple of support through your kindred contacts that you guys can make note of. That people are glad to see that something bad has not happened to him, and that seems more likable now, more charismatic, and he is performing his duties not just with the stoic determination that he used to have to follow the traditions to letter, but with some sort of emotional gusto that he might have lacked behind his cruel mouth and suspicious glare. Anyway, that's all I had to say about the matter.
All right. Well, once we're all gathered up, Jermaine is, if no one wants to get in a word first, going to explain. I have been given my final task by the Tzimisce, and it's to deliver 3 kindred of specific clans to him. I want you to know that I will not be betraying any of you, both because you hold my contract and because I feel like I've developed some measure of rapport with you. I won't be betraying you after the contract ends either. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay, Byron has a serious face on. It's rather comical.
But I wanted you to know that it was a decision I made. Any questions?
Yeah. What exactly did he want you to do? Just bring any old... I'm guessing you're talking about betraying us, so it must have been us, in part or in all.
The appropriate clans are definitely represented among this coterie. Or Tremere. Either or.
Well, I, for one, am happy that you chose not to betray us. I don't know about the other two. I'm assuming they are happy as well.
It was a tough decision. I'm not going to lie to you about that. I'm also not going to ask for your help. This is distasteful business, and I'm not going to pursue it while I'm still under your employment. Any questions?
Byron is just going to be staring at you, so the other two can say whatever.
Jordan and Sean have adopted the silent treatment on Aaron now.
I don't know what Marcus would say in this situation.
So, it was us three? That seems
Not you.
unusual. No, I'm not saying, but...
No, I mean not you. He didn't want a Malkavian. And yes, Mr. Green is still in your church, as far as I know.
Byron is going to barely suppress a shudder and say, well, thanks, Jermaine, for bringing this to our attention. If you don't mind, I think I need some time alone.
I quite understand.
It's only one thing I can really say. I'm sorry for the three you choose.
So am I. So am I.
Is there anything else you need to tell us, Jermaine?
You're not welcome down there anymore. If you go ever again underneath Central Park, you will be one of the three. Not by my choice.
I'll note Byron has left the building, but I don't think he ever intended to go down there by choice anyway. So someone can fill him in later.
All right.
I never intended to go back down there. Ever again.
Good. Don't. And after that, Jermaine will continue out the contract to the best visibility, and once it's over, that's when the real hunt starts.
I believe what the situation will end up being is if the coterie comes to the conclusion that, particularly in light of what Jermaine has said, that perhaps after David awakens, that they'll will get together with Jermaine and basically say the 1 month was long enough. Recent events have basically conspired such that you were a great use in helping us and protecting us, but our former coterie member has awakened.
Which is something that he would totally understand in character, and honestly something that he would have been pushing for anyway, because it's time for him to start his own hunt.
That said, out of character, I would have loved for you to go and grab David Green because of the way I propped him up, which was with the AK pointed at the door.
That's hilarious. But yeah, he knows where Marcus sleeps during the day, and I think where Byron does as well. He would have gone in, staked them during the day, put them in body bags, transported them by night to be certain that there wasn't going to be any sunlight, and stolen David Green's body.
Having to,
if necessary.
Having to bypass the two ghouls who oversee Joseph.
Yeah, but I mean, Horse tranquilizers are a great thing, right?
Sure. And certainly, Jermaine, particularly if he juiced up with a point of Sevalod's blood, could have handled things pretty well.
Yeah, easily. Especially since he'd be hitting them in the daytime.
Yeah, even if one of us were to wake up, like you made a bad sneak roll or something, just where vampires are.
There
such
is definitely a
disadvantage
light
during the day.
sleeper among the group.
Yeah, not Byron, so I guess that'd be Murky Mark.
Yo.
So we're having a battle during the daytime. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, point is, you would have gotten staked. Probably.
Oh yeah, no question.
In all likelihood.
I'd have to roll about 10 10s in a row to get out of that one, I'm sure.
He botches. Jermaine stakes himself.
Why did I point in the wrong direction? Yeah, would have gone in with a stake and a hammer.
Yeah,
been
and
easy.
I'll tell you, from a meta perspective, I really like. I guess you've decided to go with David Green. Then you're not, unless someone decides to exsanguinate him. Not naming
Yeah,
any
no, I'll be going with David Green.
Yes, now I decide to.
dick move.
You could certainly do that.
But yeah, the decision was ultimately an in-character one, not an out-of-character one. I decided that it was more important to him to maintain his reputation, to end the contract on good terms, and to have people that could ostensibly be considered allies or at least friendly contacts in the future. Plus, you know, that would pretty much end his friendship with Match, too.
Yeah, Match definitely recommended as part of the great reputation. He would have been disappointed.
So this is more a situation of both Jermaine seeing himself as a person who upholds contracts and wanting to make sure that there would be some degree of, social support network after he becomes embraced for him. And it wasn't, in fact, to do with loyalty. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, now once he becomes an NPC, he's going to be pursuing as carefully as possible the acquisition of 3 appropriate vampires. Even if it takes him months or longer to actually successfully do.
At that point, I think, you'll find him just as quickly as you need to come back into the story as an NPC
Exactly.
if Grimith decides it's necessary.
He's Grimith's now.
Yeah, as J. Michael Straczynski said about Babylon 5, it moves at the speed of plot.
Yep.
In regards to that, I suppose, Aaron, you earn no experience points. As for Marcus, as for Byron, and as for Joseph, well, once again, an attempt at planning things has got awry, but your characters certainly did learn a lot. What do you think each of your characters learned over the course of the session?
To check his pockets before going into buildings with metal detectors. That's the main thing Byron learned.
All the interactions with, the sheriff and the brief moment like, oh shit, it's Archbishop Polonia, and talking with Valentine and Helen Panhard, and the thing that sticks in your head is
Oh, 'cause it's just one of those facepalm moments. But it's no, Byron definitely. It's stuff that he's learned. Yeah, Polonia is well. He never saw him, so he's just like, okay, something scared Marcus right bad, so that's a thing. But yeah, the sheriff back in town is disconcerting. I mean, Byron's just gonna swing with it, but he doesn't trust that guy at all anymore, really.
the others.
Well, I think Marcus learned today that Vcephalad has ulterior motives with the sheriff because he's there. Well, yes, let's just say he's assuming that Vcephalad has ulterior motives with him.
Yeah, same with Byron, especially since there's been a slight, maybe major, I don't know, Byron's going to at least a slight personality shift with that particular Toreador.
And he's also going to, I've also learned that Archbishop Polonia is just as scary as he was a year or so ago.
Unless you're just scared of him because he was scary back then.
He's really a kitten. That's how you get to be an Archbishop of the Savant, everyone. You're a kitten.
You make everyone like you so much.
What did Joseph learn?
Joseph actually learned something I don't think was Joseph learned something that I don't think I've brought up at all. But to be a little quieter, perhaps. This session didn't really talk much at all, and yet things kept going at least well for him. Not of his own doing, but nothing he did screwed things up while he was staying quiet.
That's what he learns, to keep his big mouth shut.
Now, if only we
I
could
think
teach
more of
Ryan
that
that.
needs to go.
I think that'll require more experience points for Byron than he can possibly earn.
Yeah. It's not in his nature at all. But the other thing he learned, much to his chagrin, is that Ellen Panhard is kind of a bitch. That's what he got from that. So he's that was a letdown.
It's true.
What did Jermaine learn?
It's more something he confirmed than learned. The Semitsi are fucking monsters. And the initiation to become one makes you one.
Well, certainly the whole concept of being grabbed as a snack is what happens with the Hydrogen vampires, but he's been alive, he's seen a few things, he clearly knows that what you want, and he's like, whoa!
So yeah.
If your character could change any one thing about what they did during the session, what would it be? This goes to all four of you, although I think I know what Krypsyn will say.
Yeah, you can just go blow right by me because I think Byron did pretty well until that gun incident, honestly.
If my character could change any one thing,
Yes.
he'd probably put his ideals to the side, stake the party, and hand them all off for the quick fix instead of the long-term solution.
I think what Marcus would have rather done would have been, instead of being so hunky-dory with the sheriff and Theobald, you should have taken Theobald aside and told him everything. Mind you, that would have opened up an entirely different can of worms and probably would have required Marcus explaining a lot more stuff, but that's probably just what he wishes he would have done.
certainly an interesting thing that apparently everything is perfectly okay, and that's something that goes on with Marcus. Theo Bell doesn't apparently know that the sheriff, just a week ago, was in the clutches of Sevalod. Guilt trip?
It's just what Marcus needs, another week of boozing.
That's right. Joseph? What would Joseph's character? What would Joseph change, rather?
With this session, I can't think of one thing that Joseph would change that he did.
Alright, that's perfectly fine. Alright, in that case, the regret happens to be ideas, a gun, and not telling Theo Bell the truth. Well, in light of things, this was although it did only encompass a few days, many things did happen, and I believe all of the characters were role-played well, and you all have gotten into the heads of them and have done your best to flesh them out and use the tools provided to shape yourselves and thus the world, and continue to surprise me. I will say in part, as all of you end up getting 3 experience points, people who think I'm being too generous, for I will make this clear. The world is changing and growing and adapting over the passage of time. The glut of experience points that comes out happens whenever vampires are particularly active. As such, there are NPCs who remain active, and they earn experience points as well, which I improve upon. Perhaps not at the same rate as the players, but they still evolve all the same. They're a bunch of neonates, with several in Chile, and they have a lot to learn as well. They're not just elders sitting in a mansion below Central Park somewhere, being stagnant. So you have 3 experience points.
I mean, that sort of explains why Sevalod keeps getting new interesting people. He just wants to learn new things. But he's not being active, you're right.
Not that he couldn't go out, it's just that he doesn't feel compelled to right now. Certainly with his powers, he could make it happen. It's just like... But
It's cold outside.
the player characters have, gone to a warehouse district where they rescued a vampire and saw a whole coating of fog with the Ouroboros symbol. They've had their domain attacked by organized crime, and they've tried to do their best to infiltrate to that, to understand that they've investigated so many other sites, Muncie Hudson expediting in stories. They've met Carter Vanderwade and Valentine. They journeyed in a speedboat across the river to get to Staten Island while it was storming as fuck outside. They have all done so much and continue to be active, and during the entire time, the players have done the best of their ability to role-play their characters well. And at the same time, there are neonates and Chile and other vampires who remain very much active as they desperately try to survive and claw their way into a position of power within the concrete jungle. So there you go.
I mean, I would have been fine with getting 0 experience points tonight, but whatever, man.
Nah, I'm gonna die soon, I'm sure, so, gotta let you guys grow while you still can. In a year's time, the city will be full of nothing but, super-powered neonates.
Well, then you stopped calling them neonates and you called them whatever the step that between neonates and whatever that word is. That word.
Listen, Sean has trouble between the differences between Byron and Brian. He can't fucking do it. You're in Chile.
Enchiladas.
Enchiladas!
That's right. Whenever we get 200 experience points, that's when we become enchiladas, right?
Delicious!
Good news, everyone. I'm now Ninjalada. I can see Byron's face. You're now what?
What?
Byron's face when...
Well, it would be fitting for a Malkavian.
Marcus is like, just let it go, Byron. Let it go.
If I had to make a third new character, it would probably either be a Malkavian that has fourth wall awareness, or believes there's a fourth wall when obviously there isn't. Or,
what happened to the Tremere?
Or a psychic Tremere.
Wait, I told you that this would be your only backup character, so you better cherish Jermaine.
That's true, and I did. I really did.
Next week, David Green goes back in the Torpor.
So, Match, we need to get a hold of Jermaine again.
He got what you need.
Anything in particular, questions or comments that you four players have for me?
Not off the top of my head, but I can't speak for the other three.
Are we going to play out the process of David getting all of the blood necessary to heal up that aggravated damage?
Well, if we're going to start from the very the day that, or the night rather, that David awakens, then he is definitely going to have all those injuries attached. I'm sure that'll also be an interesting bit of news too, like that Craig runs up, Joseph? Yes, Craig. David, he just opened the door and got shot with the AK. Oh.
It's okay. It doesn't do much to him.
No, it actually it hit him in the head.
Oh.
We're gonna need Jermaine again, huh?
Those 3 points of blood I have are going to go first and foremost to healing those 3 points of lethal damage.
Yep. It's gonna take a lot of blood to take care of the aggravated damage.
But at least I'll only be at -2.
Yep.
Only.
So I think that's great, because we definitely need to cover the whole roleplay situations of what everyone in the coterie says to David, and what David says to everyone in the coterie. That's a big, important deal that needs to be covered, and that can be done next week.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to have to, switch modes back to being an idealist.
There will be, perhaps some things. I don't think we could always have the little vignettes, Aaron, where we have let's watch Jermaine find out whether he succeeds. But I think we'll just end up having one vignette sometime this week if you have a clear day like we have with David, just like an indeterminate amount of time later.
Oh well, I definitely have all of Thursday free. Aside from that, it's
Well, Thursday it is then, if you definitely have all of that free.
Well, I mean, I also have afternoons most days free.
Yeah. In that case, I mean, I sort of already have in mind what's going to be done. I definitely typed that out as well. I fleshed it out. In that case, it would just end up being a situation on when you wanted the cliffhanger with Jermaine to end, because this will be intended to give you some closure with the character.
Oh, okay. Well, is Monday afternoon okay?
It certainly is.
Then let's try for that.
Monday afternoon. How late in the afternoon do you want to do it? Like 3 p.m.? Do you want to do it later than 3 p.m.? 5 p.m.?
Well, it would have to be, if it's going to be that late, it would have to be like after 6. Let's just do it on Thursday.
Okay, that's fine.
I
don't have a problem with doing it earlier in Monday afternoon. I would just need to know.
Nah, it's fine. There will be nothing to plan around if it's on Thursday.
Okay. Wait. I don't have a problem with planning, which is why I asked you the question. Like I said, I'm throwing the ball back in your court again. It's
Nah, I'm saying as much for my ease as yours.
okay. Fine then. I will message you then on Thursday, probably whenever I get on Skype.
Cool.
You have no classes on that day?
The one day during the week that I have no classes.
Well, then there you go. I mean, if you want to put it off that long to get some closure for your character, then by all means.
Yeah.
Are you sure? So everyone, how do you like? I'll go ahead and send the text to everyone that I delivered there for Aaron for his second task, because I'm in a generous enough mood before we end this fucking session.
And that's what I've been torturing myself about for the past, more than an hour.
And like I said, the actual part about others no longer being welcome was intended to be revealed along with the second task as well. So only Aaron would know out of character that his character was the only one allowed, and you folks wouldn't know out of character. But it was moved up as a bit of punishment for Jermaine calling upon Civilod. And you can show that to the chat and the Twitch if you want. Maybe I'll even paste it in the video description for the audio podcast. Beyond that, though, everyone, we're clear to go. Unless you have any final thoughts or queries or comments that you want to direct to me. Then you guys can get in touch with me about what your characters will be angling to do during the week, so I can make any dice rolls or whatever and respond accordingly. I've already given you some sense of what will be happening during half of the week.
I'm going to have to give it some thought about what Marcus is going to do. And
You're actually not going to be drunk, so good news.
Yeah, so I'll probably give it to you at the latest. I'll tell you by Tuesday because I have to study for exams tomorrow, and then on Monday I have every single one of my exams.
Nice.
Man.
And by the way, I actually do seriously think that it would be great in character for Marcus to sort of pursue becoming a deputy at some point.
Yeah, but the problem is he's assuming the sheriff is not who he was before.
It's a good assumption.
He's only sort of following along because Theo Bell.
Yep.
That's true too. Marcus has knowledge that the Archon doesn't have. You want to keep stringing along Theo Bell here?
Well, it'll come crashing down eventually, perhaps next session or the session after that, but Marcus is not going to hold on to that knowledge forever.
And the razor wire continues.
Yeah, I see nothing good from that. I know it's in character, and it'll be fun in the Dwarf Fortress sense of fun, I think, for the whole coterie.
Eventually, I'm gonna throw you all a curveball, and you're gonna be like, he just jumped the shark there. That's all Jordan had to say. Good.
Let me see if there's anyone in the chat that has any questions really quickly.
Okay. As we've learned, Marcus can't hold on to any knowledge for long. Oh, Lax Jody's there. Oh.
Burn.
Well, Byron is a close second, so I will not throw stones. I don't
It
even know
is
the skill
true.
with
I do
Byron.
like tormented characters, but usually I like them tormented because of outside circumstances rather than purely personal things.
It doesn't seem like there's any actual questions right now, so
There you go. Keep in mind, Aaron, you didn't have to make the character as a mercenary seeking embrace. He didn't have to want to be embraced by Sevalon.
I know, and yet.
Here we are. In that case, any final thoughts from you four players to the audio podcast people? Or whatever the hell you want to call it.
YouTube. You're so funny.
Oh, you're just a bunch of little cutie pies.
Yep. All right, then.